Hello and welcome into the Lone Star Varsity Preview Show, brought to you by the University Medical Center and powered by AJ Media. I'm Mike Graham.
And I'm Bryan, and we're with the Lone Star Varsity High School sports staff.
Well, Bryan, it's week 10. It's November, as you can tell by my mustache now. But we've got some really good week 10 games going on. And one of these games, just might be the game of the year. But before we go into these games, just want to tell you how this show works. We're going to break down our top 4 games of the week. We're going to discuss them, and then we'll circle back and pick the winner of these games. And that's how this works.
Yeah, sounds good. Like you said, it's week 10. It's kind of crazy. I said it last week. It feels like we blinked and we're here, and now we're even a week deeper into it, one game out of deciding who's going to end up in the playoffs and everything. So it went pretty quick, but it's been a lot of fun.
All right, first up, the big one, 8-0 New Deal versus 8-0 Abernathy, both 3-0 in District 2 2A Division 1. This will be your game at 7:30 p.m. on Friday.
I think this is going to be a very electric game. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. They're within, 5 maybe miles or 5 minutes away from each other. I'm not sure which comes first, but this is a very big rivalry for both teams, and they both know it. I spoke with New Deal's Matt Hill at the end of that game that they played with Hill Center, and he said this is their biggest game of the year right here so far. And it's a big rivalry, and the kids are excited about it, and the kids just, they're ready to get out there and start hitting some rivals.
And just a couple of facts about this game. Abernathy, through its 8-game winning streak, is beating opponents by an average score of 46-15. New Deal is not far behind. It's 40-9. I think you look at the quarterbacks and / linebackers of these teams, both headlining them. You've got Bryson Daly from Abernathy, led the team to the state semifinals as a freshman. You've got a really talented quarterback at New Deal, Jet Whitfield.
These are both tough quarterbacks. These are quarterbacks that, they can run the ball in any play and go ahead and chunk it downfield. They got some arms, and they're complemented by big running backs. They're not necessarily big, but big-time running backs in Maya Martinez and Cole Carlisle. So I think out of the backfield and from both sides, you're looking at 2 potent offenses that are coming into this one. I think you're going to need a defensive stand on this one to come away with it in the end. Last year it came down to, 1 point.
Yeah, PAT, right?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. When these 2 teams meet, you're always going to get a good game, and I'm happy I'm going to get to attend this one.
Yeah, pretty evenly matched game, and like we've said a couple of times this season, when you have 2 even teams, it really comes down to who wins the turnover battles. And we'll add into that special teams, because field position is probably important in this one too. Anything you can get to get an advantage over your opponent in this game is important.
I think so. I think early on we're going to have one of these teams going for an onside kick to get that advantage. If you score a touchdown, get an onside, you take away a lot of momentum. And, pair that with getting more turnovers, I think you end up winning this one. But I got to see both teams live in action, and I thought I knew who was going to win this one at the beginning of the season, and I was blown away by New Deal last week. Mm-hmm. So I'm a bit on the fence on this one, but come voting time, I'll have my answer.
Yeah, it should be a really fun game, and could very realistically be a playoff preview, because both these teams are 3-0, and there are only 2 games left in the regular season for both teams. It's very feasible that one is going to finish first and one is going to finish second. If that were to happen, they would circle back and play each other, not in the regional championship round, but in the regional semifinal round. So only 3 weeks into the playoffs, they'll circle back to each other 5 weeks from now.
I could potentially see that happening. I think that both teams have the teams to be able to do so, and if they meet each other again, it's just going to be that much more exciting, especially with that playoff atmosphere thrown into a rivalry atmosphere.
Yeah, try not to leave too much on the film for this one.
Yeah.
Next up is a Thursday game, a 7 o'clock game, the traditional Thursday game at Lowry Field. It's Lubbock High, which is 2-6 and 1-2, going up against world beater Coronado, 8-0, 3-0. And we just talked to Jason Strunk a few minutes ago from Lubbock High. The Westerners really know that they need this football game, as difficult as it's going to be to win, because they're 1-2 in the standings. Lubbock Cooper is 1-2 in the standings, but Lubbock Cooper beat Lubbock High earlier this season, so they've got that tiebreaker. Lubbock High basically needs to win out, and they need Monterey to take care of Lubbock Cooper this week, because Cooper is going to finish the season with San Angelo Lakeview, which is probably the worst team in all of 5A.
Yeah, the playoff implications to this game make it that much more important for Jason Strunk and the Westerners, and I think they're going to be preparing just for that importance. But like you said, Coronado's a hard team. It's going to be a difficult one to come out in, but I think both teams come in ready to go. I think Lubbock High has found something special in its offense and what it's started to do or did mid-season, and getting the ball into Isaiah Johnson's hands more and controlling possessions. Against Abilene Cooper, it kind of got away from them, but then again, they didn't have Isaiah Johnson to kind of help complement Kwame Wilborn, and the game just kind of snowballed after a while. But you got to believe that they're going to get ready for a rivalry game.
Yeah, no doubt. Everyone knows everyone in this game. Isaiah Johnson, they're expecting him to be back. Might be a game time decision, but I think if there's any, I think if he's hurt at all, he's going to be lying and trying to get into this game. I think that Isaiah Johnson's very competitive. This is a big game for his team, the biggest game of the season probably. I think that there's a 100% chance he's going to play in this one. That's just my gut.
Yeah, his injury, I believe, was a dislocated toe.
Right.
I'm not sure what the recovery process is from one of those. But
honestly, it's probably just the off season.
Yeah, he seemed fine whenever he was walking on the sidelines. Or, he had a boot on, but he seemed okay. He seemed good otherwise. So wasn't on crutches. It's always a good sign. So if they're able to bring him into this one, then maybe they'll get to accomplish what they want to against Coronado and keep their playoff dreams alive.
Next up on the list, it's the 8 p.m. game, the game related to the Lubbock-Coronado game. It's Lubbock-Cooper 5-3, 1-2 versus Monterey 4-4, 2-1. So this game is interesting because you've got Monterey and Abilene Cooper tied for second place in the district, and you've got Cooper and Lubbock High tied for fourth in the district. So there's a big sliding scale here. Monterey wants to win this and try to finish with the second seed, or maybe even if they can enjoy a Coronado loss to Abilene Cooper next week, there could be a 3-team tie at the top and some positive things in the seeding. But I think this game is far more important for Cooper, trying to keep ahead of Lubbock High. This is their biggest threat on the schedule remaining, and I think that they really want to get this done.
When we were talking about the playoff implications for Lubbock High and what this game meant for them, it's the same for Cooper coming into this one. So I think they're going to be preparing for a really good Monterey team. I think Monterey, they're going to come out a little hungry and wanting to get that, like you said, tying everything up. And the playoff implications are just huge. And not only that, seeding. So I think both teams are going to be ready for this one. Monterey, we expect some big numbers out of Bryan Lawson-Young after what we saw, what they were able to do offensively to Cooper last week, Coronado that is. So, I'm expecting a good game.
Yeah, both these teams coming on, I think trying to get bad taste out of their mouth because Monterey had Lakeview last week, and Monterey had Lakeview last week, but Coronado 2 weeks ago in its last real test, and Cooper lost to Coronado last week 51-22. And their margins to defeat were about the same, and for Cooper, it was about committing 6 turnovers. I think that was the biggest thing. I'd be shocked if they committed 6 turnovers in this game. That's just one of those freakish things that might happen once a season, and then no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to turn the ball over 6 times again.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, we were talking about how one of the more impressive things about Lubbock Cooper has been that discipline that they bring to the field, and I think last week it just kind of fell apart for them. But I think on Monday you go back and you kind of prioritize rather, and you start working on that again. And I don't see them turning the ball over 6 times again.
Haven't talked to Coach Catwinkle yet this week, but we will tomorrow. And we're wondering if safety Jake Kirkpatrick will be back, because that'd be a huge boost. That is a potential Division I football player playing safety for the Pirates. Yeah,
and also Elijah Boyd. He's another one of their players that had to sit out last week, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we'll see if they come out 100%. If they're 100%, I think this game is going to be a little bit more competitive than that Coronado one.
And really, I think you advertised this game with a strong offense, probably second or third best in the district in Monterey, going up against a Cooper team that, when healthy, probably makes an argument with Coronado for the best defense. It'd be 1A and 1B there, I think.
I think so. I think that's fair to say. Yeah, Cooper's defense, traditionally in the past, as I've said before, has been really sound. It's been good. They're a little beat up. And, when you were talking to Strunk on the phone earlier, he mentioned this is late in the season. You're beat up. Your players are beat up at this point, and that just might be the case for Lubbock Cooper right now.
And then finally, we've got a really interesting game. We've got Friona at Shallowater, and George Watson will be at this one for us at 7:30 p.m. on Friday. The Squaws are 7-1, 2-1. Shallowater is 7-1, 3-0, and hasn't lost to a 3A team. But here comes the gauntlet for the Mustangs, because Friona didn't have a loss until last week, lost to Muleshoe. Guess who's coming up next for Shallowater? It's Muleshoe in what could be a true district championship game between two 4-0 teams in the league. But Shallowater's to get through this one first.
Yeah, this could be a real test and real telling as to how that game might pan out, or it sets up this huge district competition game at the end of the season that I would love to see personally. Two undefeated teams going after each other for the district title.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to get that one. I don't know if you're going to get that one with the Abernathy New Deal game, but we'll see.
We'll see, but yeah, Friona was dealt its first loss of the season, not just a district loss last week, and that loss to Muleshoe. So they're a little bit on the, I would say, on the downside coming in, but then again, they're also probably still hungry to go out there and compete for the district title, because I think they're still in the running for it.
Absolutely. They just need to beat Shallowater, and then for Shallowater to go out and beat Muleshoe.
Yep, and that puts them back, in that seat. But Shallowater's, beating Shallowater has proven easier said than done this season.
No doubt. Only Estacado's done it, and I think we're all on the same page that Estacado is a great 4A Division I team. And what's funny about Estacado is they might be dropping down to Division II with the cutoff numbers they're sending out.
We'll see how that kind of pans out there.
But the more important thing, Shallowater they flat out haven't lost to 3A teams this year.
Yeah.
A heck of a turnaround under Bryan Wood. And just a couple of stats about this game. Shallowater's averaging a 44-19 win over its opponents. Friona 41-22.5. Not much separation, but in district, Shallowater has only allowed 27 total points to all opposition faced through 3 games. Friona has given up 119.
Yeah, it sounds like Shallowater's defense has really come through for it here in the long run. And, of course, when you got a quarterback like Cutter Sparks taking care of it on the other end, you're going to see big results, good results.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and pick them now. You've waited long enough. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the bottom, or do you want to start at the top?
We'll start at the bottom.
Okay. Friona and Shallowater. It's a 7:30 p.m. kickoff on Friday between two 7-1 teams, one of which hasn't lost to a 3A opponent all year. And on the line is a true district championship game between Shallowater and Muleshoe if Shallowater can win this football game.
I love what Bryan Wood has done with Shallowater, the way they turned it around this year, and I'm putting all my eggs in Shallowater's basket. I'm going Shallowater in this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Shallowater too. Just the fact that they've only allowed 27 points to some common opponents, how badly Friona's lost that battle, just at the scale, because 119 points isn't a terrible number, but it's no 27.
Yeah.
Shallowater has been impressing us all season, and I'm just going to stick with them, probably through the regional round of the playoffs.
I'm in that boat too.
Okay. Cooper at Monterey in the 8 p.m. game at Lowry Field on Friday. You got 5-3 Cooper, which is 1-2 in the district, going up against Monterey, which is 4-4 and 2-1. Huge playoff seeding implications in this game.
This one is actually a lot harder to decide on than some of the games that we might pick later on. But, this one's tough for me. Let me hear what you got.
Yeah, this one is frustrating to pick without getting all the facts, which we'll do tomorrow for the preview article that will be going on LoneStarVarsity.com. I want to know who's healthy for Cooper, because off the bat, I think that Monterey is healthy and has good players, and we know that they're very good on offense. And I think that Cooper's going to need some reinforcements, like an Elijah Boyd at running back, to kind of keep the ball out of Monterey's offense's hands. I think they could benefit from having Jake Kirkpatrick in the back, so Brylan Lawson-Young can't take the top off their defense as easily as he has to some other teams this year. So without knowing everything, I think I'm going to go Monterey. I think that they're healthy. I think that they know that this game's important for seeding, and that they're hoping for a miracle next week when Abilene Cooper plays Coronado, can kind of hop into this thing and create a 3-team district championship.
Your breakdown and assessment is exactly right. I think without knowing the facts, it's hard to choose this one, but if I had to, it's going to be Monterey.
Okay, this one even more important in 4-5A for Lubbock High, really fighting for its playoff life this week with 2 more weeks remaining in the regular season. Lubbock High 2-6, 1-2 versus Coronado, 8-0, 3-0, and technically number 12 in the state's AP poll now in the 5A area, 5A level.
I think Coronado had a convincing win last week against Lubbock Cooper. I think right now there's no slowing them down, although I know Lubbock High will prepare to, and they'll be prepared to. Like Parr said, you know, Lubbock High always comes out to compete. But at the end of the day, I got to go with the Mustangs on this one.
Right. I think this is a game kind of where you say, do you believe in miracles? Because Coronado hasn't shown, I guess what I'm trying to say is, even when Coronado faces opponents that have losing records, it's always up for the game, and it's always trying to establish itself. It's done a really good job of that. Did a really good job against Lakeview, and through the back half of the season has really been getting up for all its opponents. It felt like it was better coming into the game, and it was able to step on their throat early, and then it just kept going. Lubbock High, I think they're going to need a really good possession game, keep the ball out of Coronado's hands. I think they can do that with Isaiah Johnson and their blocking schemes. But when Coronado has the ball, they have an opportunity to match. And I think that Coronado's offense has a clear advantage over Lubbock's defense.
Same here. Okay,
final game, New Deal versus Abernathy. 8-0, 3-0 versus 8-0, 3-0. Your game, 7:30 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah, this one, maybe we'll split, maybe we won't. But either ways, this is a game that people need to get out to watch. It's going to be big. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere for Texas high school football. Coming into the year, if you had asked me who was going to win this game, I would say Abernathy. You know, like I had mentioned earlier, but after what I saw from New Deal, I'm on the fence. I don't know who to pick in this one, so I'm going to go with the team that, you know, proved resilient through the playoffs last year and was able to come away with that win last year as well. So I'm going to go with Abernathy on this one.
You know what, like kind of like picking an NFL or a college game when you have 2 Dead teams. You ask the question, who's at home? Who's at home? Really good game. And what's exciting about this game is that everyone's so young. Abernathy turned in some high numbers on snapshot day, so they might be bumping up to 3A Division II. But if they don't, this could be a really good rivalry for a couple of years. But I'm going to go Abernathy. They have the playoff experience. But it was just a 1-point game last year, so I'm not going to be embarrassed if New Deal comes out and wins this one.
I could see it going either ways, honestly. And I think they're both gearing up for what might boil down to another 1-point or 1-possession game. It's going to be pretty wild.
And with that, we're done. So we really appreciate you guys coming by to hang out with us. Please be sure to check out LoneStarVarsity.com as we really vamp out our football coverage leading up to Week 10. Should be a lot of fun. We've got a podcast on LoneStarVarsity.com right now, and the coach's show with Seth Parr from Coronado was really good, where he shows some key plays from his win against Cooper. And with that said, the show is brought to you by the University Medical Center and powered by AJ Media. Thank you very much, and have a great night.